Good evening and welcome back to RitterCast. My name is Vin. I am here tonight with Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
And Lee.
Hey, what's up?
As always, we have a topic in an envelope, and that topic will be what we discuss tonight. Should we check it out?
Do it.
Sure.
Right,
Open that.
take it out
Open
of
it.
out of
Open
my,
that shit.
Out of my butt pocket. We have our envelope. And in the envelope, we have our card. Tonight we are discussing BTS stories.
Nice.
So we're going to go around.
Are we sticking Slenderverse for this video?
Yes. Let's
Video.
stick to our
For this specific
web
recording.
series, which all are part of the Slenderverse. For those of you who don't know, the Slenderverse is a wide-ranging community of horror enthusiasts.
Think the Blair Witch Project split episodically.
Yes.
And,
On the
and
internet.
centered around
And on the
creepy
internet.
monsters.
Right. And people who work together to... so there's really the viewers and the creators. The viewers obviously consume, but there's also some ARG aspects, which are real-world aspects that they like to get together and solve for a lot of our...
Interactivity.
Yeah, some
Yes.
interactivity.
Oftentimes multimedia
Yes.
platform.
Normally through
Different.
Twitter at very least.
Yes.
Fans can
Twitter.
know.
In my case, we've done real-world objects and boxes and coordinates and meetups with viewers. So it can run the gamut.
Yep.
But let's talk about some stuff that we've all experienced. Excuse me, I want to make some bad noises here. That we've all experienced while filming our series.
Experiences that we have experienced.
That we have experienced ourselves. Personal experiences.
Right.
So let's start off. Really, let's talk real quick. How old are all of our series? Because we have
Oh, Lord.
years.
You're the oldest.
I am. I think we're about 9. We're coming up to 9.
Oh, Lord.
Really?
This April,
Really?
8 or 9. We're one or the other.
What, you started,
year
what,
did you start?
2011?
2010, right?
2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that'd be like 8?
8
It's
years.
going to be 8.
8?
Yeah.
I'm like 7, because I think I started like maybe like 8 months after you.
Okay.
Or
Oh,
something
I'm
like
the
that.
babby here. I will in September. I will be 6. I will probably be finished by then, but
Okay.
5 years old, 5 and a half,
All right. 5.5.
5 and a half.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'll say 7, just to be.
So we have
On the safe
tons
side.
of years of
Yes,
stories.
several years of stories.
That's very true.
Oh,
Very true.
As always, I will let someone else start.
All right, and once again, I will vote Leland.
Okay, I mean, I have
can
only a
say.
couple short stories here.
That's fine.
So,
let's
like,
start,
yeah.
start with one.
We'll just start talking about it.
I mean,
Yeah.
okay, so several people know of the video that got me famous. The one where the creepy crawly rake man enters my room.
What is the name
Des-
of that
yeah,
video?
describe it.
Video
for
diary
the-
number 5. So that is the one.
Want
that
to
is
check it out?
The 5th video, if you want to check
Whispered
it out.
Faith, by the
Whispered
way. That
Faith.
is the series.
Shameless self-promotion.
Mhm.
I just did that on my review channel as well.
Good.
So the gist of the video is it's a recording of in my room while I'm asleep, and a spooky monster crawls in, and there's gifs of it all over the internet. The particular image got very famous, and that's what got me a lot of subscribers. So, and then the video ends, and my friend is rushing me out of the house because I'm bleeding everywhere, cuts all over my arm, and he gets me to a
It was
car.
good makeup, by the way.
I'm very proud of that
appreciate
makeup.
Yeah,
I'm
it was.
really
It
proud
was.
of that. It cost me all the hair on my arm, but
Did you do it? Did you do
sacrifice.
the
yes, I did.
Nice.
We use the usual gelatin and latex and stuff, but latex on hair not
No,
good.
oh, I know.
It stripped all the hair off my arm.
Look at my arm.
all
I've
of
done it as well.
Yeah, it's awful. But so he rushes me out of the house. He puts me in a car and drives away.
My arm is hairy, by the way.
We were so into character that he proceeded to start speeding off as another car was coming down the street. We almost, hit a car. That was fun.
Good.
Then there was just some really nice, aesthetic things that happened. I mean, I had to film at Devil's Tree once because my character was teleported up in that area. And
Did you see they cut that down?
they did?
The Devil's Tree,
The
really?
one with it had the fence around it. Yeah,
What?
you touched it. Yeah, that's gone.
When?
We went back maybe 2 years ago, and it was cut down.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a stump.
That's very upsetting.
Did
'Cause-
they get cursed?
Well, the
all
whole
died.
curse,
Construction
the whole
company
curse
dead.
was supposedly that you couldn't cut
Couldn't
it
cut it down.
Right.
They proved that wrong.
That you couldn't even get the chain
Yeah.
of the
Oh,
chainsaw
yeah, well,
on there.
I guess
it's a tree.
Yeah,
So.
it'll-
can't cut down.
that's really upsetting. I didn't know that.
You know what I think, real quick, a little aside?
Yeah.
The whole thing was if you pee on it, you're cursed. If you touch it, it's warm. I think it was just a way to get people to touch other people's pee. So those were the two curses. Was if you pee on it, you're cursed
Yeah,
forever.
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
If you touch it,
true.
it feels warm. So you're touching on a pea tree.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that was I
Got him.
in the premise of the, it's another video called The Knife. It's another one of the ones I'm actually proud of. And I poke myself with a magic knife and teleport, and several days pass, and by the time I reemerge in the real world, and what really worked super well was that when I went up to film at Devil's Tree, which is where I reemerge, it just decided to snow that day. And so that really helped with the whole passage of time thing.
That's
and
true.
It was so aesthetically nice.
I remember that.
I was so pleased with that.
Yeah. It looks really good.
There was no reason for it to be snowing. It was like the middle of October.
Yeah.
And so it just worked out so well.
Yeah.
That looked really nice.
That's very cool.
Any of you guys have fun coincidences that helped you out?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Sure. I'm actually not going to piggyback off of what you just said, but I'm going to start my own little story.
Start a thread.
So,
I have more. I'll come back.
A great experience that I had for Dark Harvest was our little crossover that we did with Tribe 12, which you may or may not be aware of as a listener. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it was a really great experience. The videos, the crossover spans 3 videos on the Tribe 12 channel and then 1 video on the Dark Harvest channel.
It was a lot of fun.
It was such a great experience. The one I'm specifically talking about is the video on the Dark Harvest channel called Meeting with Noah Maxwell. That is log entry 25. And then there's a video called The Order on the Tribe 12 channel. For that, we had a huge amount of extras. We actually had an open casting call that we posted on Facebook.
Didn't know that.
That's where I came from.
Interesting.
Yep.
So that's how that all happened.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's actually how I met Lee.
That's how I started my series.
Exactly. That's true.
Really? It was that?
It was inspiration via that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it really was such a cool experience. So
Wow.
It was awesome.
we just had fans of the series come in, and they acted as cultists in the episode.
See, and I knew that
Yeah.
had all happened because that was the one that I think Daniel, my brother, was at, right? And
Yes,
Jeff was at.
Daniel played Slender
Slender
Man in
right.
that. Yep, and
So I
Jeff-
knew that it was a
Jeff
big deal. I
also.
just didn't know that that's where you guys met and you decided. I
was
didn't know that.
I was generic fanboy number 17
Wow.
prior to that. Yeah.
Yep,
Whoa,
that is absolutely
wild.
true.
Me and my
Yeah,
friend
and-
we met everybody. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, it was such a cool experience.
Here we are today. How
yeah.
time changes things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was just a really great experience. It was the first time that I ever worked on like something that actually felt like a film set, because there were so many people, there were so many moving parts. You know, like we had all the people that had to get into costume, and we had to actually choreograph. You know, all these extras who just showed up that day.
Wander
You know,
into
of
the
course,
woods at night in a park.
of course, and like we filmed everything, you know, in a day.
Right.
You know, like that's generally how our shoots have went, is we just bang it out in one day. I think there was one fan who met us there, and I apologize if you're listening. I forget your name at the moment, but Vin is shaking his head disapprovingly.
I know who you're talking about. The kid who came from really far away, right?
Well, I was gonna say the dude who fell onto Alex's car.
Yeah, that was the same
Right.
guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name either, but he
Yeah.
came from far as hell away.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
like New Hampshire or something.
So thank you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
And threw himself on Alex's car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what happened is the scene consisted of Slender Man pops up. He starts going crazy on all of the cultists. He grabs one by the leg and is like flinging him up. That's in the Order video, and then you can see this in both videos. You hear a scream, like falling, and then slam onto the hood of Alex's car. Which I thought was actually one of my personal favorite parts of the video, because it looked very, very cool, and it was quite a shock.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, just to meet someone that day and say, hey, you know what? Can you like jump off like the roof of his car onto the hood and then like roll off, and then we're gonna drive away? Like, is that cool? But
On
yeah,
the Jeep, right?
Yeah, it was on the Jeep. Yeah,
The immersion mobile.
yeah. So that was the thing.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell a story that was not so great. It's
all
a
right.
I
mis-
have one to
a
piggyback
mishap.
off this when you're
Great.
done.
Okay, good.
I
I'm glad
think
I
we
can
all
start.
have.
The train has some
The
bad
train of
stories.
misery here. There was one set of videos. The one in particular that I'm thinking of is Jessa's Dead. It was on our series.
Yes.
Where we had gone, and for a while, one of our arcs was we were trying to find a missing character, which was taken, and we were following these clues, and the clues led to Centralia, Pennsylvania. Now, for those of you who do not know what Centralia, Pennsylvania is, or why it is significant, it is what some people say is the Silent Hill of...
Well, it's the town that inspired Silent Hill.
Allegedly. I don't believe that that's true.
I'm pretty sure that's actually true.
I don't know. We'd have to fact check that. I do not believe that's true because there's no way that a Japanese game developer was like, "Oh, hey, cool! A town in Pennsylvania has a coal fire." But that that is what happened. As far as real world events went, there was a coal fire that is
underground.
It's still burning today.
It started in the mine and it is still burning through the supply of coal in the mine to this day.
Yeah.
Smoke comes out of the ground. It's really cool.
Yes, it's very cool. There are pressure cracks all over an old abandoned section of highway that you can actually see at this point where the lots of the houses were. I think there's only 3 houses left in the entire area.
Yeah.
Was that like the mining community?
Yes.
Yeah. There's, like, not
because
much
it was an entire flourishing mining
There's still
town.
a church, right?
Yes, there's still a church.
When did that start? The fire?
40s? 40s
40s
or 60s?
Yeah, I think it was the 60s.
And it's going to continue burning for like another at least another decade. I can't remember.
They said quite a while. I can't remember what the actual timing is.
Yeah.
But that's unimportant to me because my experience with them was not with fire; it was with water. Yeah. So we get to Centralia. We make a day trip of it. It is about 3 hours, maybe 2.5 hours from where we lived at the time. And it's me and the other 2 guys who do Everyman Hybrid, which is my series. And we had a couple guests at that point. I think we had a few friends. We had my Ford Explorer all packed up with people. So we get up there early morning, and we decide that we were going to find the town of Centralia. Because the videos that we had seen at this point were of a town. There was a town. We saw the highway, of course. But we also saw that it had led to a town. So we park, we pull off the road, and we find what looks like an old, almost like an irrigation system, like they had some sort of shaft going down a hill and the hill was cleared on either side. We said that looks like a great place to start. It would probably lead to the town. So we walk, I'd say half a mile. And there's nothing but gravel on either side of us and like missing trees, gravel, trees, missing. It was just a lot of nothing.
Right, yeah.
And we walk half a mile and all of a sudden we kind of get the feeling that maybe we've missed something because there is absolutely nothing. Now we're in the woods. So we turn around, we start going back, and we're about halfway back with all of our equipment. And at this point, our equipment was a couple flip cameras, cell phones, a recorder, nothing crazy.
I've been there. I've been there with the flip.
Yeah.
But it's all we had and it's all we could afford at the time. All of a sudden, the sky opens up. There was not a cloud in the sky up until this point.
Right.
Clouds converge, and it is like hurricane force rain. We are about 1/4 mile from my car.
Nice.
I think only one of us, for some reason, had a plastic bag to put their stuff in, and they shoved all their stuff in quick.
Yeah.
We run back to the car, torrential downpour. We all get in the car. I turn on the wipers and turn on the lights, and we're sitting there. We didn't find the town. We couldn't find the highway. All of our equipment was ruined except for my iPod and my flip.
Okay.
I think my cell phone also survived. Jeff, all of his stuff was gone. Evan, I think maybe still had his cell phone but lost something else. So we're sitting there like, man, this sucks. We had no towels. My car was soaked. Cloth seats at the time, so it was just disgusting. It smelled like wet dog in the entire car.
Awesome.
We didn't get the footage we needed. We couldn't find this town. And to just make matters worse, as we're sitting in the car, I can't remember who made this astute observation, but they were looking out and they go, I think that this was the town. And we look, and all the things that were gravel are sort of like set up like plots
there's no more
of
town.
land.
Yeah.
There was no town.
There's no town.
Right.
Not anymore.
Right.
And
It's gone.
there was a highway that is still there.
Yes.
We were about 50 feet left of it. So we just missed that by about 50 feet.
Right.
At this point, we are
Nice.
soaked. Everything is ruined. We said, we're just going home.
Yeah.
We're going home. We got I think we got a little bit of the footage we need. We ended up having to drive 3 hours again another day to get all our footage. The video, of course, did get made, and it's been out for a while now. But hell and a half.
Nice.
Hell and a half.
I'm gonna
sure.
piggyback off
Please.
that 'cause I have an awful story like that.
I also do.
Oh, good.
We all
Good,
have
good,
terrible
good.
stories. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna start with the bad one, and then I'll change it into a good thing that happened,
Oh, nice.
or a fun memory I have, and that'll be like the last real story I have. So first off, similar to you breaking your equipment, I broke my camera filming at a beach once. Just sand got in the cap that closes automatically.
Right.
Does not open anymore. It doesn't open anymore. It does not stay open. It does not open at all. But that is not.
This is a camcorder, right?
This is a
Like one of those? Okay.
was a camcorder. I switched to a DSLR since then, but
I dropped one once and it broke.
Oh.
I haven't used it since. Yeah, the little what's it, like the screen right that pops out just broke off.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So the actual story though that I have. So this is about a year or two into my my production of Whispered Faith. I was filming a crossover at the time, a 3-part crossover with Carrot and Garden, and it was the last day of it. Was like we pretty much had like 4 days to shoot the whole thing, like 3 videos on each channel.
I was there for some of that.
Yeah, you were. You were there for
Yeah.
two of the 3 videos. So this is the last video we have to shoot. It's the end of the whole crossover arc, and there were a lot of people involved. It was me, Chris, Mo, Lexi, Misty, and then several people I knew from like Rocky Horror. And we're filming. So like this is like Lexi's leaving the next day or the next night or whatever. So we have to shoot it all like this evening.
Right.
We're shooting in the diner. We shot what we needed to in the diner, and then we go to this abandoned construction site near my house that.
Every good story starts with
Oftentimes I
abandoned
film there because it's a really cool. It was going to be affordable housing, and the neighborhood nearby was like, we don't want that.
Oh, this is the.
Yeah.
What
This
we
is
used for
the-
Lilith. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we
It
did.
is, right?
Yes. So we're filming this crossover there. Whole climax, we're all cornered in this cul-de-sac by crazy cult members. The Rake shows up, Slenderman shows up. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole fiasco.
So Alex Madden was supposed to be our Slenderman, didn't show up. So who ended up being our
Such a
Slenderman?
sadness.
Oh no, I'm sorry, no, it was the other way around. Brendan was supposed to be our Slenderman, didn't
Oh.
make it. Alex Madden was our Slenderman.
Alex Madden was the
Madden
Slenderman.
Yes,
was the hero.
I misstated it.
in
I
this
apologize,
case.
Alex. So that was the first thing. Then mind you, we didn't know if we were allowed to be back there back then. Turns out we were. Like nobody cared. Mo, in his infinite wisdom, decides to bring fireworks and just start lighting them and throwing them off into the distance.
I just want to be
Excuse me.
clear with this. Not for any filming purposes.
No, just because.
Just to have
Just because.
fireworks.
Because
That'd be great.
he's got everything. He's got like a quarter stick of dynamite in his garage.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
All right. Go with
So
it.
he's just bringing fireworks, lighting
Not
them, throwing
literally
them off.
Homeland Security. Not literally does he have a quarter stick of dynamite.
Throwing them off into the.
NSA is listening.
Oh shit!
All right, sorry. Continue.
Throwing them off into the night and just fireworks. So I'm getting pissed about that. Then it starts to rain. So then I'm like, shit. So then we have to be like running through the mud and shit. And then we're driving cars, faking hitting the brake. It's a whole nightmare of a situation. So then. What the way it concludes is, the cult's there closing us in. Slenderman shows up, dispatches the cult, teleports Mo and I back to our where we are at, which is my house. It's like a day later or so. Teleports Lexi back to Texas. So then, Alex Madden, Slenderman, he's standing there, and what happens is I'm like, okay, we need people to scream because this is not normal. So it's like 9:00 at night. It's
Right.
raining. It's just, we want to get this done. It has not been going well. So we're going, okay guys, we need, on 3, we need everyone to scream. Okay, so ready? 1, 2, 3. Silence. And it was
Silent as the grave.
I have footage of it. It's in my blooper reel. It was the most infuriating night of my life. It was honestly like, the video came out fine, I guess. I got some cool data moshing out of it unintentionally,
Nice.
because getting the footage off that camera I had to put it through some conversion software that actually fucked up the footage, which was
Don't
cool.
complain about that. Yeah.
But I have never had a more unpleasant experience filming, simply because everything went wrong one after another. Like, it was awful. It was truly horrible.
Yeah.
It happens.
Chris
Yeah.
was there. He can confirm.
Oh yes, you were very stressed. I recall.
I was so mad.
You were a stressed boy.
I don't think I've ever seen you stressed in my life.
Oh yeah, no, never, never, no.
Probably never.
No,
Probably never.
Never. You're the most
I'm
relaxed,
the least neurotic
zen,
person.
Like you're just zen. You're like a
Totally.
you're like a Buddhist monk.
Yes.
And then I'll close this with a fun story. I was shooting in a storage unit. I rented a storage unit for several videos, and we were filming there for about. I think I rented it for a month, and they had a good deal where I only had to pay like $4 or something. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
And so by the end of this, like there were a lot. There was.
I have a good
This is
story
a torture series of. I was locked in a storage unit for an extended period of time and tortured mentally and physically. And so
I was there for that as well.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
And well, you were there for one of them.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so what happened was that there was a lot of blood involved, and I have memories of when my lease was up, and I came back to clean it. And I remember just bringing like 6 rolls of paper towels and Windexing the hell out of everything. It was cleaning up a crime scene. It was great.
Beautiful.
I have fun.
Should have brought bleach.
Yeah, really.
Someone gets it next. Why does it smell like bleach? What's the stain here? So those are my fun Whispered Faith stories.
Okay.
Well, that's certainly fun. I have to tell you my bad story.
Oh.
Yes, please.
It ended up looking very cool. This is I'm referring to log entry 26 of Dark Harvest, which is the
I
one
was here for
where
this.
where Alex and Chris are led into a trap by the traitor Jesse. And they are accosted by the cult, dragged out of the vehicle. They get black bagged, and they're going to be executed.
Live on camera.
Yes, live on camera for your viewing pleasure.
Yeah, I was here for this. This was fun.
Yes. So
Sort of.
first of all, I was directing this occurrence. This again.
You had like 30 extras.
Yeah, a lot of not 30, but
It was like a lot.
I'd say a dozen. I'd say a dozen
I
extras.
feel like it was more than that.
It wasn't.
Really?
It's your imagination.
Then maybe
but-
I'm remembering.
It was about a
It's
dozen.
hyperbole.
So in my series, I oftentimes have a lot of extras because I like having a lot of cult members show up.
Yes.
It's it's a cool spectacle. So yeah, there were about a dozen extras, I want to say. A lot of which they just showed up. Like some of them were planning on it, like they were close friends of ours who knew like what was involved in making a video. Others were just people who kind of tagged along, like, oh, that sounds kind of fun, I'll go. I had to corral these people literally like cattle. It was ridiculous. I probably have never been more stressed out at a shoot in my entire life.
He was very stressed, I can confirm.
I was losing my goddamn mind. We were like losing. It was getting so late. Mind you, also we're filming on a public road.
Right.
Okay. So
Not exactly the most controlled locations.
it's not a controlled environment. Granted, it is a road in the middle of nowhere. It was
One-car dirt road.
Yeah, it was a 1-car dirt road. Okay, so mind you, we're probably also like blocking the road a bit, like there too. But there are like no cars. This is really like out in the boonies. But so the worst part of this is ultimately our characters are saved by Jeff, who shows up, not Everyman Hybrid
not
Jeff.
my Jeff.
Our Jeff, the Jeff from Dark Harvest.
Too many Jeffs.
He shows up with a handgun and is able to rescue us. Now, picture this. Public, right? Okay. I see Vin's got his thinking cap on. Yeah.
I don't have to picture it.
I know. All of this going on. So you got people on the ground. They got black bags over their head. There are people standing all around them with masks on and
sharp
axes.
weaponry.
They have axes. Then there's a guy coming screaming, waving around what looks to be a legitimate handgun, right? Moments after we finished shooting this, and I'm saying like minutes, like while we're like packing everything up, the police arrive. So apparently, a local who like lived on a farmhouse or something nearby noticed the commotion of the just a car parked in the street. They saw the lights. There were a lot of lights, a lot of cars, a lot of activity. Perhaps they saw people wearing masks wandering around in the woods. Always fun.
Yeah.
So they called the police. And they just kind of said like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And we were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we were filming something. We're leaving now." And he's like, "Okay, good." But so I'm just thinking, had that policeman arrived let's say 5 to 10 minutes earlier, he would have seen the scene that I just described. We might have all died.
Yeah.
We like
Wow.
see, the thing is, like, that was several years ago that we shot that. Let's say 5 years ago. In fact,
Early on.
yeah, so like the whole like police shooting thing was not really in the news very often. It was not something I even was like aware of. I
Right.
wasn't conscious of like that as a possibility, that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
But so yeah, in retrospect, we could have all died.
Yeah.
Actually, I would have been fine. Me and Alex would be fine because we were
Everybody
laying
else
on the
would have been
ground.
saved.
Yeah, we were laying on the ground with bags over our heads. But Jeff certainly would have been shot. The cultists holding axes could have been shot.
May have been.
Like, it might have been like a national headline like bloodbath. So luckily, disaster was avoided. And this is just a word of warning for all of you young guerrilla filmmakers out there. Be careful.
Don't.
Be careful. Yeah, don't do that.
Can I actually put an addendum on that? Because there was one fond
Sure.
memory I have of that specifically, and by fond I mean also hilariously scary.
Sure.
So, the road in question is an urban legend of sorts.
That's true. It is.
It is supposedly a housing for cult activity, like the KKK and stuff.
Yes. And other secret societies
yes.
and things like
So
that. This is true.
And so as a result, people often visit it as scary
Of course,
teenagers
right.
looking to be
Weird
scared.
NJ
Late,
kind of
late
thing.
night, scary, weird.
What
ending.
happened
Yeah.
was, so Jesse's car is blocking the one car road at the time because he's got the headlights on you guys.
Right.
And a car, looking for some thrills, I assume,
Mm-hmm.
of teenagers, pulls up behind him and cannot go anywhere. As they are bagged and people are surrounding them with axes and white masks.
Well, they got what they were looking
That's
for.
fantastic. I didn't
They
even
got
know
what-
that.
You didn't know about that?
No, I did
Their
not.
faces were like I can only imagine
Oh
what
my
they
God.
must have
They
been
must
thinking.
have had a hoot. Holy
Wow.
Because I remember we
shit.
had to move the car for them, but I can only imagine what they were
Oh,
thinking.
now I do remember
Yeah.
because then I took the bag off
Yeah.
my head. I was like, sorry, we're filming something. I remember that now.
See,
I do.
you ruined
Wow.
it for them though, because now they went back and told everyone this story about how they saw this cult.
Yeah.
I
on
don't have
the
to tell them the
road.
film part.
But
Yeah.
now they've
It's okay.
been outed.
I
for their,
I can only imagine what they must have been thinking. It's
Yeah,
so
there
funny.
was at least a few moments where they probably were shitting themselves.
Oh, I'm
thinking,
sure they were
What
like-
did we just stumble into?
I have
Oh,
a
good
couple
Lord.
quick ones, and then we're gonna, I think, call it a night here.
Yeah. Sounds
Real
good.
quick, wording matters, and what you say is very important.
Okay.
Yes.
We also rented a storage facility for one of our videos. Same deal where we got $1 a month.
Sure.
And my friend Jeff, I think, is a very pretty well-spoken guy. He's a good writer, and he usually says what he means. Before we go into one of the potential locations that we were going to rent from, he goes, "Hey man," pulls me aside and goes real quiet, "Can you do the talking?" And now I said, "Sure, that's not a problem. I don't mind talking," but I said, "Fine." So I go and I do the talking. No big deal. We decided not to rent with that particular place. So we go to the next place. We go in, and he addresses Jeff first. And Jeff goes, "Hi, we're looking to rent a place." And the guy goes, okay. Like, how big? And he goes, that a couple people can fit in. Or something along those lines. Now, okay, so that wasn't even the worst part. It was something along those
For a
lines.
storage facility.
Right, for a storage facility.
Okay.
And the guy goes, okay. Great. So the guy goes, "I think we have a medium-sized one." And he goes, "Whatever by whatever."
Right.
Fine.
Yeah.
He goes, "There's one actually right up by the front desk." And he goes, "Do you have anything a little farther away?"
Oh,
And the
shit.
guy's like, no, we don't. And we just go, "Okay, thanks," and walk away. But he asked if we could fit a couple bodies in a location that was more remote than the one that was close to the
Right,
front
right.
desk. Yeah.
This is why
Yeah.
you don't let Jeff do
Yeah.
the talking.
Well, then the one time I did the talking was the Sigmund Freud incident, where we were filming in a
yes.
totally legal park, and
Yeah.
cops came up to us and subsequently asked what I was going to school for, and I told them psychology, and I was asked if I was double talking Sigmund Freud and these cops. Yeah. So
Jive talking me, kid.
that was great. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Man,
Good
some
time
good
was had
times.
by
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We all met through this.
Yeah.
We've all had years of shitty filming experiences and great filming experiences,
Can
and I
confirm
wouldn't
this
trade
is true,
any of
yes.
that.
I wouldn't
know you
either.
guys wouldn't either.
Oh.
We made a movie because
No
of
way.
it.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
did.
Doing
Oh, man.
podcasts, which is way more exciting than any darn movie we could have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So- Speaking of
Good idea.
podcasts and movies,
Yes.
we have a couple social media handles, don't we?
Ah, yeah, we
We
do.
sure did.
We have a Twitter. What's that Twitter, Chris?
We do have a Twitter. It's at Real RitterHouse.
That's the one.
The one and only.
We also have a Facebook. What's
Yeah.
that?
It's Ritterhouse Productions.
There it is. If you have any comments for us, if you have any suggestions for topics, we'd love to just talk forever. So please give us things to talk forever about.
Send them over to RitterhouseProductions@gmail.com.
That's the one. All right, everyone. We will see you next week.
Have a good night.
Night.